Well, hey everyone, welcome to Equipped with a Crown, and I'm here with Christy Joy. This is Kat, and we have such a special honor today to have Heidi Baker with us. We have just dreamt of this moment and have just waited to be able to sit with you and just soak in everything that you carry and who you are and the heart that you have. And we just want to honor you because, as Christy Joy was saying earlier, you are that example. You have set such a standard for so many, and it will carry on for generations. You have shown you are the embodiment of a laid down lover who has given Jesus your full and complete yes. And you go where I'm sure places you don't want to go, but you go and you share his love everywhere you go. And you just, honestly, you set the bar and the standard so high. And I just thank you and we honor you for that. And we're so honored that you're here. Thank you for saying yes to us and coming to have a conversation.
I'm just a little mama, just a little laid down mama. I sure am in love with Jesus, and it's great to be here. And you're very kind. Thanks.
So good. Well, I have a little bit, for those of you who don't know Heidi Baker, I just don't even know, who would not know you. But for those who don't know, let me just say a little bit about who you are. So Heidi and her husband Roland started Iris Global in 1980. And have you been in ministry since then?
I actually started when I was 16, so 1980 was 20, but I've been preaching since I was 16.
That's
on
right.
the streets, yeah.
That's right. So good. Okay, so Heidi was powerfully called to the mission field at the age of 16 when she was living on an Indian reservation in Mississippi as an American Field Service student. Several months after she was led to Jesus by a Navajo evangelist, Pentecostal that way, right?
He was Baptist.
Oh, he was?
Yes, he was a Baptist.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I was the only one who came to Jesus that night. Yeah.
The whole night was for you.
You
All
never know.
American Indians and me, and I was the only one that came forward. He thought he had a bummer night, but it was okay.
It turned out really well.
It kind of turned out okay for this guy. That's good. As she was taken up in a vision for several hours and heard Jesus speak audibly to her and tell her to be a minister and a missionary to Asia, England, and Africa. When she returned home to Laguna Beach, California, she began ministering at every opportunity and leading short-term mission teams. After Heidi and Roland were married, they longed to get to Africa to fulfill their calling. Once they were in Mozambique, they were given an orphanage that no one could want or support. Nobody wanted it. This jump-started the fulfillment of the call on their lives and began a major move of God in Mozambique.
Mm-hmm. And we first went to Indonesia and Hong Kong. We were there in Asia, actually, touring, ministering with dance drama. We were there about 12 years. And working among the poorest people we could find, living in the slums. And so we were there 12 years in Asia, then 3 years in the UK, doing the where I did my PhD, and then Mozambique. So it's been a long journey.
Wow.
It's been 43 years now.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Wow. It's so good. Okay, so tell us, how did you and Roland meet?
Oh, Roland he's 12 years older. So when I was in preschool, he was in university. So people say, did you meet at university? No, that would have been strange. But he was teaching a Bible school in Dana Point, and I was engaged to somebody else. And the Lord told me one day at SEC Vanguard University, Assemblies of God University, he said, you can't marry this man. Take off the engagement ring. And I remember I was just devastated. I was sobbing, and I loved this man so much. And really, it was 6 weeks before the wedding. But I heard the Lord say, no, you can't marry him. So I took off the ring. And then we were going on a church ski trip. We love to ski. Okay. So we were going on a church ski trip, and I sat next to Roland, and my ex-fiance was driving the van. So that was a little awkward there. But we just talked for hours and hours and hours about, I said, I'm called to Africa, Asia, and England. He said, well, I'm born in China. That's great. That makes sense to me. And he was the only person that didn't, think that was a strange thing that I heard. And he said, that's awesome. And then I was in Mexico City, went to jail, lost my visa, piece of paper. When I got out of jail, yes, no joke, this is a wild story. I get out of jail, but the Lord had told me 7 things in the slums of Mexico City. And right in the middle, he said, you're going to marry Roland Baker. And I said, what? Like, no, we were not dating. We were not I talked to him one time on a bus, and that was it. And I said, okay, Lord, if that's your will. So I get out of jail, and Roland had written 7 very mushy letters to me. And they got to me the day where the rest of the team was gone. But because I didn't have my visa and been in jail, I couldn't leave. And somehow these letters got to me, really love letters, actually. And then I met him. He came and picked me up at the airport. We went to lunch once and got married. And we left for Indonesia on a $30 one-way ticket and $30 in 1980.
What?
Yeah.
One thing I love about that story, I love all of it, but I love that God snuck that in the middle. It was like a sandwich.
It wasn't the first
Here's
thing.
all this spiritual stuff, and then, hey, by the way, you're going to marry this man you just met.
Yeah, and that was definitely the most spiritual, I think, because he's my covenant partner, and I don't think I could do it with anyone, anyone but him. He's a real gift from Jesus to me. Yeah.
I love that.
And you have how many kids?
17 children, 2 blue-eyed blondes, and 15 Africans.
Oh my goodness. That you actually adopted.
We foster adopted. We don't have all the paperwork, but believe me,
they're your kids.
They're ours. We are able to build them all a block house. They're our family. And right now our son, Elisha, natural born, and 10 of our kids are all together in Mozambique celebrating our second oldest son's graduation from his master's degree right now. So, yay, go Sergio! Woohoo! So, yeah, we have a big family.
So good. All right, well, we have a super spiritual question to ask you, Kat. You want to start it?
It's pretty deep, so we just want to
get you
ready to ask about this.
You have started this viral spiritual phenomenon that's catching.
I didn't know that.
It's this thing that I hear almost every day.
Yeah.
When I'm here at Bridgeway, I hear it literally almost every day.
Okay.
So we want to find out where it originated.
Shaba. Shakababa.
Yeah, that's a tongues. I heard when I asked somebody about it, does anyone know what this means? Because when you're in the spirit, it means something like covenant. It means I promise.
Wow. I love that.
People were looking it up and what it might mean, and they said it means covenant and something about I promise, but a very strong I promise.
Come on.
Yeah, so it just came from, it's a part of a prayer language.
Yeah. Love it.
But we do promise that we will give him everything.
Yes.
And do whatever he wants.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, we've been talking this week with Papa Leif and Paul Yadao all about the family culture. Mm-hmm. We want to know, what is family like in Mozambique? What is that culture of family like there?
Yeah.
Boy, we have gone through so many changes through the years. Because when we first we've been in Mozambique almost 29 years. Now we're going on 29. It was just chaos. It is chaos now in the north. But in the south, there were just piles of dying children. And so I just picked them up. I just said, do you want to come live with me? And there was no social welfare. And I just said, do you want to come live with me? Do you want to come stay with us? And it just started growing. And so at one time we ended up with like 4 kids in one bed. They were living, dying, starving on the street, being abused. You know, the police would abuse them, other people would abuse them, girls that had just been tossed out in the garbage dump and abused so many times. And I was just like, we have to take them. And we didn't, even today, we're faith-based ministry. So even today, it's like, I don't know how this month's how it's going to happen. You know, I'm being really honest. This is how we live, like on the edge. And I'm like, I don't know how we're going to do it, but I know God's faithful. We just took them all in. And then really, as we went to the revival in Toronto, God crushed in on me, especially on me. Roland went first. But on me, he crushed in and really got a revelation of Abba, of Daddy God. And he's saying, I don't want orphanages, he said to me. He wants us to care for orphans, but they're called to be adopted.
Yes.
You know, all of us are called to be adopted by Daddy God, right?
Yeah.
And so he started